Well, everybody, welcome back to Blackberry Glen, and I'm happy to share with you today a latest update. Excuse my voice, I'm just recovering from being ill this last week, and but finally getting a chance to get back out to the property. This week coming up is Thanksgiving, and I thought it was a perfect time to showcase an update. So I'm going to walk you into the property, show you what's happening, and bring you up to speed. As you can see here, we're walking up the driveway, and it's changed quite a bit since we were here last. So they raised it. They brought a ton of dirt over into this area and gravel to raise it up so that we don't have to worry about washing out the area, I guess, when there's rains. As we see, we have hills on each side, and we need to be sure we have proper drainage and we're not flooding the driveway in the future. So that's why it's been raised up. A couple of years ago, and I saw some video footage that had been posted on Facebook of this area years ago, and the street behind me actually had a couple inches of water on it. You could see that heavy rains, and so with all the hills here, I wanted to make sure we're protected and not going to worry about getting flooded out down here. So that was one of the things we wanted to make sure we addressed. But let's see how things are looking as we approach. Off to the right here, still lots of dirt being moved and future place of the pond there in the future. And one thing I've done since I was here last, or since I videoed last, I should say, is I've still came out here with the chainsaw again, clearing a lot of the underbrush, and actually all the area you're looking at right now, that whole area around the property. Didn't take too long because I'm not cutting down big trees. It's a lot of the small stuff, but cleared out a lot of that. We want to make it more park-like, I guess you would say, maybe with about 50 feet off the house, the perimeter. We're not thinning out all the trees around the exterior of the property. We want to keep it pretty thick so there's some privacy. And you could also see this time of the year, last time I filmed, still probably had a lot of leaves on the trees. And now you're getting to see it now more bare. And you can see as we come up the driveway, let's take a look at what we got here. It looks like, I know they're prepping for the foundation right now. So let's walk up the driveway and zoom out a little bit. And you can see they got, yeah, they're getting it prepped. I'm predicting that they'll be pouring the concrete maybe this week coming up. I know it's Thanksgiving coming up this week, so it's possible it may not. It may get pushed to the following week. But plumbing was inspected and approved. And once the foundation's poured, we're off to the races with a little low today. Like I said, I'm recovering from COVID this last week. My second time having it. But I'm doing okay. Anyhow, so the changes, we got the, like I said, gravel in. Down below here, let me just share with you guys give you a little perspective here. Now the driveway is going to actually be pushed away from the house a little bit further, but this area down below here, where you see kind of this area dug out, right here, there's going to be a retaining wall, and this is the only area back here. This flat area eventually is where our AC units are going to be. So our attempt here is with a wall and then some shrubberies, we're going to be able to kind of hide all of that stuff. Typically, you put your AC units kind of hidden away. The way it's designed, there really isn't a place, like on the side where the garage is, and just really isn't a spot to put them. So the only place we could find to put them was right here. And again, normally you don't do that on facing the side that you're driving up to, but it was the only place that it worked. So we're doing our best to hide that, and hopefully it works out well with a retaining wall there and lots of plants and stuff, and you won't see it. There will be, so right here, so let me just orient you here. This area over down here in the basement is going to be an office. And then basically where that pipe is, that's a wall. That's where that pipe right there. And then everything back is a large garage. So just think of where those two garage doors are, two long spaces, could literally hold 4 cars. If we did the whole thing, it would have been able to hold 6 cars, but we don't need that. So, so this, where that paint can is on the wall there, that'll actually be a door, an entrance that you can go into that garage. So think of the side of the house right here. It's kind of a side entrance. We'll call a friend's entrance that will allow us to kind of Let my friends come in through the car area that we'll have. And I think I've shared the past a few fun cars to showcase down there. And that's kind of my fun hobby on the side. So that's basically what we're going to be on the side of the house. We'll have an entrance here. And I think I will record a video. And I may do it even later today or over the weekend, showing actually the digital software we use to kind of design the house, so you can see it in 3D, and give you a tour of that. It now shows a very useful tool in designing the house, and still is to this very moment as we're doing all the design elements. So where I'm going to stand right now, so right here, right in this space, this straight ahead of me will be kind of a living room area in the basement, and straight above us will be, you know, the main part of the house. But if I turn around, this will be the view from the backyard, from our patio upstairs and in the basement, looking out the back. It's kind of why we cleared all this area out, and it's so pretty when this is all green during the most of the year. And as we come around this area back here, these are going to be 2 guest rooms in the basement. And on the main floor, this bumped out area right here on the main floor above will be the dining room. And this area here in the corner, again, this is in the basement, will be a guest room. But upstairs on the main floor, there'll be a little office for my wife to have right off the kitchen. And then as we come around, let me just kind of share something else with you. As we're inside the house, so in the basement here, now that there's kind of plumbing pipes coming, you kind of get a sense of where things are. Like these pipes back here are going to be for a bathroom. These pipes are for a bathroom in the guest room. These pipes for another bathroom in a guest room. This pipe here is for the drain of a sink for a little bar area that's going to be out here. But so imagine we're walking, and to the right of me right here is a little bar, and I'm walking down the hall, and there's a closet right here to the right of me, and then in front of me there'll be a door that we can go out. And when we go out this door, where I'm walking right now, to the right where you see this concrete, there'll be a gate right here. We can open that gate, and that back here will be, you know, trash cans and that kind of stuff. And as we walk forward, one development we did was originally this just went straight out, and there was a retaining wall to the left here for the dirt to hold back. But what we did is, you'll see this red X, this blue X here, they got to cut all this concrete out. We made a decision, we're going to extend the retaining wall out where you see these green lines, and then jet it out, and then go across. And this space right here that I'm standing in, basically right where this is, we're going to frame this out, and that'll basically be an underground closet. So now we have a door here that'll go into that space, allow us to have storage for, you know, yard tools and that kind of stuff. And then we'll come out to the right here, and this will kind of take us out into the open space. And this will all be retaining wall that goes back along here to support the dirt up there. So it kind of things coming together there. I expect once the foundation goes in, framing should start relatively quickly thereafter. I know from the other projects I've seen them building that tends to be the case, that once the foundation goes in, I find fascinating is during this whole process of building the house, you know, you think you have your plans and you're done. You know, your architectural plans are done. Here we go. Let's build this house. And I'm sure that's true for many people. But as I talk to our builder, they say they've never built a home that ends up exactly like the plans. Like, you start with the plans and there's changes along the way. And for sure, we've made a ton, I won't say a ton, but we've made a lot of changes. And I got to be frank, I'm not quite sure how people do this without using some kind of 3D model on a computer to see what everything looks like and how it fits together. They just go off of plans. But if they can, more power to them. But for me, using a 3D model on a computer really help us plan out and come up with some ideas, and lots of things you think you like, you try it out on the computer and you're like, maybe not. Thought it was a good idea. Oh, I saw it on the internet. And that's another thing. You start spending time on Instagram and Facebook and you see all these images of things and you're like, oh, what a cool idea. Let me try that out. And sometimes it's great and sometimes you're like, not so much. Or you get excited by it and then you sit on it for a bit and you're like, you know, it's a cool idea, but I would never use it in the long run. So you end up removing it. But being able to do that on computer first and see it in action has been very helpful. Like I said, I'll do a video on that tool that we used. But, you know, there are lots of changes that go along. So I would say when you're working with a builder, if you do work with a builder, how they feel about changes along the way. And I'm very happy to report our general contractor, our builder, has been very easy to work with from the standpoint of changes. Now, none of the changes have been major. We're like, oh, we need to move a giant, you know, a foundational wall or anything like that. Although I will say adding that little storage room up that I just showed you, that was a new thing. And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem, we can do that. So I would just say, again, when you're working with a builder, have those conversations at the beginning, like how do you handle that stuff? You know, how difficult it is to make changes along the way. And they even keep saying, like, listen, even once we start framing, odds are there's going to be things that you see, you're like, oh, let's move that wall a little bit, or let's adjust the window, or that type of stuff. So we're real pleased with that whole thing, that whole process so far. So for those of you who've been following along, you can see we've made quite a bit of progress. And look forward to showing you on the next video, or one of the upcoming videos, the framing actually starting. And I will upload a video soon showing the computer program we're using and how that's been really helpful. I did join a Facebook group recently, groups where it's being asked by people. And as I read the questions and kind of hear, you know, the questions being asked, I keep saying to myself, a lot of this stuff could be answered if the home owner or was taking some time to do a little digging and use a tool, like I said, using a tool like a computer program to see how the home actually looks 3D. It sounds a little intimidating. It's not too hard to use. It's pretty straightforward. But once you get used to it, you can really test out things. Like, I'll give an example. One of the posts I saw recently was a person commented like, oh, we didn't even think about making the slider door taller. Like their window heights were a certain height, the top headers, and the slider door was much lower. And they're like, oh gosh, we should have thought about it being taller, and should we replace it and, you know, lose our money from the current door? And my thinking was, well, had you seen that on a computer model, you would have easily caught that. So anyway, just some advice out there if you're watching right now and you're thinking about building a home. Take the time to really plan everything out design-wise. Don't be in a rush to get started building. For us, we took almost a year in our planning process of design. Now, we didn't think it was going to take a year, but it's what it ended up taking. And take your time. And even during the build process, there are things that are going a little slower at times, and I'm totally fine with it. I even told the builder, like, I'm not in a rush. If things are delayed a week, or like, it's okay, because it gives, at least for me personally, it gives me some time to think things through. Because once you get past a certain point, it's like, all right, once the foundation's poured, like here, there's no changing the footprint of the house. There's no changing the alignment of the house. And if you've watched past, rotated the house 2 times after initially designing the home, like the house was originally designed where it's probably pointing, the backyard where it's pointing now was actually pointing more this direction. And after getting out here, we're like, no, that's a mistake. And we ended up rotating the house twice for a total of about, I think it was 40 degrees. You pour it, you can't change that. So there are certain things you get to a certain stage, like, okay, we can't do that. Or here's another example. I know we're going to be pouring the foundation soon, next week or so, and we need to have electrical outlets put in the floor of the foundation. So a few weeks ago, the builder's like, okay, are you sure you have them where you want to? And I'm like, yeah. Now, of course, I'm thinking about it, and I realized, oh, wait a second. I need another. Actually, the ones in the space there, we need to confirm, is the furnishing that we're putting in that room accurately set up? And we realized, oh, wait, we don't even have that accurately represented in our model. So we need to, once I made the furnishings more accurate, oh, we got to move the electrical outlets. And same thing with my office. We thought I was going to have my desk in a certain spot. Then I made it realize, oh, we might want to put it in a different spot. So let's have an outlet somewhere else. So you make those. Excuse me, you make those decisions, and once you get past a certain point, there's really no going back from it. So I'm happy that I hadn't gotten out to the property for a week, and I wasn't even sure had they poured the foundation yet. So I was happy to come out here this week and see, oh, they haven't poured it yet. Excuse me. Which means we can make a change to the excuse me. We can make a change to the to the electrical outlet. So sorry about that. I'll wrap up here. That's a sign that I need to wrap up here. Thanks for coming out and watching again here at Blackberry Glen. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, but still, well, all the YouTubers, I'm not a YouTuber, but whatever they all say is hit the subscribe button if you want to get notified of future video. Excuse me, if you want to get notified of future uploads. There you go. I'll end it there, and you guys have a great one. Thanks for watching here at Blackberry Glen.